Welcome to today's video. My name's Anna and we're doing a little flow by the river today. So we're going to move quite quickly. We're going to go through two separate flows, a little warm up and a little cool down. And this one is quite strong. So it's quite cold here today. So I decided to do a bit of a stronger flow, a bit more fast flowing. I've said flowing a lot now, to bring a bit of heat into the body. It is winter here after all. I know I'm in a singlet, but I just took my jumper and jacket off, so we need to get warm fast. Okay, starting in a seated position, and I'd like you to close your eyes, taking the hands down to rest in the lap. And just start to notice the breath. Okay, we're just noticing the inhalation and exhalation. Without altering it. And noticing any thoughts that arise, like, oh, I haven't thought about my breath today, or it's too shallow, or I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Any of those kind of thoughts, just let them float by. Nice, long, deep inhale and exhales through the nose. So now we are starting to alter the breath. Breathing a little deeper and seeing how quickly we can arrive right here, right now. Lovely. So I'll remind you to come back to the breath throughout the practice. We're going to use the breath like a thread to weave the movements together. And don't worry if it all goes out the window. The breath usually is the first thing to go when we start to add movement and add some intensity to the practice too. That's something to work on. I'll remind you to come back to it. Let's take a little warm up. Coming straight over onto hands and knees. And we're going to take some cat-cows. So rounding through the spine, press the floor away. Inhale. Exhale, arching the back. Gaze is slightly forward. And moving in and out. Inhale. Exhale. Rounding and arching. Then back to neutral. Let's take some circles over the wrists, either direction, and the other way. Beautiful. Going back to the first direction, this time adding on some of those cat-cow type movements into the circles, okay? So rounding and arching the spine, and then other way. And returning to neutral. Tucking the toes under, press the hands down. Let's press back into our first downward facing dog. And let's walk out the legs, or taking any movement that you like in this first downward facing. So you might like to drop the knees and windshield wipe the hips from side to side. You could stay with the walks, straightening one leg, bending the other. You might like to take some movement through the upper body. Coming down, bending the elbows, taking some circles. Really just make this your own here, taking whatever movements you like. Then finding that still downward facing. Let's take some spinal waves from here. So let's bend the knees, keep the weight back in the feet and touch the knees down to the mat. Then start to round through the spine, waving all the way forward. Last thing to come up is the head. And making your way back, tucking the chin, rounding through the shoulders, rounding the back, and touch the knees. Straighten the legs, the heels towards the floor. Let's take one more. Rounding, keeping the chin tucked, and then head comes up. And making your way back, tuck the chin, round through the shoulders, press into the floor, and coming all the way back. Let's start to walk the feet towards the hands. Lovely. Let's take a halfway lift here. Hands can stay to the floor, to blocks, to the shins or thighs, long through the spine. Inhale and exhale. Let's fold forward over the legs. Here, take a little bend through the knees, wrapping the arms around the back of the legs. Okay, so you can hold on to opposite elbows. And then from here, first press the big toes down into the floor, then press the knees against the arms. So we're pressing out against the arms to activate. Now this might be enough. Otherwise, you might be able to try straightening the legs, or you could straighten one at a time, or just hold here. You could take a little bend in the knees and just think about starting to try and straighten. For 3, 2, 1. Bend through the knees. Hands come to the floor. Take that halfway lift again. And fold. And now we're going to roll all the way up to stand. Nice and slow. Rolling the shoulders back. And forward. Okay, coming to the front of your mat. I'm going to start to move through a flow now. So taking the feet together, pressing, or you can just take a comfortable stance. So toes can be together, or if it's more comfortable for you to take the hips wider, then you can just take them a little wider. Okay, we're going to clasp the hands behind the back and bend through the knees. Lovely. So keeping the torso upright and some weight through the heels. And then let's start to tip forward slightly over the legs and then open out to the left first. So just checking as well that one knee hasn't moved forward. They're nice and even. Back through center and over to the right. Nice steady breath. Back to center. Undo the clasp. Hands come down to the floor. Step or hop the feet back to plank. Rock a little bit of weight forward. Grip the floor with the fingertips. And we're going to come down into our chaturanga. Upward facing or cobra. Second chaturanga. Press up all the way to plank, to downward facing, sorry. Then we're going to do that spinal wave all the way back to plank. Lower down with control to the floor. Lovely. Taking the left arm out long, shoulder height or above. Starting to come over into our scorpion. So rolling over onto the left side and the toe of the right foot comes behind. Beautiful. Rocking back over, taking the other side. Right arm comes out and twisting over onto the right side. Back onto the belly. So we're going to push up here into plank in one go if you can, or from the knees. Back to our downward facing, and then we'll take a step or hop all the way forward, halfway lift. Let's take a fold, and then coming all the way up, back to standing pose. Some steady here, mountain pose. Let's go again, a little bit quicker this time. Inhale, into chair, hands clasped, nice and deep in your chair. Let's open the chest out to the left, back through center, out to the right, back through center. Let go of the clasp, hands to the floor, step or hop back into our plank position, chaturanga, upward facing, chaturanga, all the way back, downward facing, spinal wave to plank, lower down, into our scorpion. If you'd like to add on, you can take a cactus arm. Yep, so that position with the arm, still shoulder height with the elbow or above, and then tipping over, staying here. Or to add on, you could take the knee or take the big toe and maybe even straighten the leg. Out and over to the other side. Remembering your options. Open out. Add on if you like. Back through center, getting ready to press up in one go. Back to downward facing. Step or hop the feet forward. Halfway lift. Folding forward. Lifting the arms, coming all the way up. And back to our starting position. Let's go again. Inhale, bend through the knees, clasp the hands. Let's look to the right first this time. Open out, nice and deep through the knees. Back to center, out to the left. Back through center this time. We're going to add on. See if we can straighten through the legs. Fold forward, keeping that clasp. Beautiful. Coming back out. Hands to the floor. Step or hop the feet back to plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing or cobra. Second chaturanga. Press up. Downward facing. Spinal wave to plank. Lower down. Okay. Arms straight out, or choosing the cactus option. Over onto the left. Choosing to add on if you like. Coming through center and taking the right side. Remembering the breath here. Adding on any options. Coming back out. We're going to add on here. This time, keeping the hands under the shoulders. We're going to take that cactus movement with the legs again. Except this time, press yourself all the way up to a seated low skandasana position, or cossack, where we have that right leg bent, but we're still seated. Coming back through center. Left leg bends, pressing over and coming up. Coming back out, hands plant, and that left leg comes back and over, getting ready to press all the way up. Press it back to downward facing. Getting ready to come forward. Springy through the legs, step or hop the feet. Halfway lift, folding forward. Coming all the way up to stand. Lovely. Let's take one more round. Getting ready. Open out to the left. Back through center. Open out to the right. Back through center. Straighten the legs. Take the forward fold with the hands coming up and over. Back to chair. Hands down to the mat. Step or hop the feet. Lower down. Upward facing. Second chaturanga. Downward facing. Spinal wave to plank. Lower down with control. You can go from the knees if you need to. Taking your options for scorpion. Coming out. Other side. Beautiful. Looking for that sensation through that right shoulder, through that bottom shoulder. Should feel a nice stretch through the front of that shoulder. Back through center. Hands under shoulders. Bend the right knee first. Start to roll over onto that left side. Press all the way up. This time, see if you can press up so the bottom comes off the floor. Lovely. Then from here, we're going to see if we can press up to stand. Come back down, lower all the way down. Come back through center. Left knee bends, pressing all the way over into that low lunge. Pressing up, butt off the floor, and then all the way up. Whoop. Back down. All the way back over onto the belly, getting ready to press up. Back to downward facing. Springy through the legs. Let's hop forward or step. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. All the way up. And back to stand. Lovely. Let's come all the way down into a squat. Okay, if you need any props here to help you elevate the heels or sit on a block or a bolster, then feel free to do so. And let's take some opening stretches. Left hand comes to the right ankle, right arm comes up. Reaching, coming back down, change over. And back down, and then taking both hands out, pressing out with the arms against the knees and back in with the legs. So there's a little bit of resistance there. Okay, from here we're going to come into our crow pose. So if you're still working on getting into crow, then grab yourself a block or something to elevate the feet, which will help you get further into the position before having to lift the feet. So gazing point in front of you, don't look back between the legs, hands firmly into the floor. And today we'll take the version where we grip the outside of the tricep with the leg, with the knee. If it's easier for you to balance directly on top, then you can do that too. Gaze forward, tilt, 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 tilt. See if we can get the feet off. We'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you fell out, don't worry. Coming down, or if you'd like an extra challenge, press the hands into the floor and hop back to plank. Chaturanga. Inhale. upward facing. Send it back, downward dog, and then either dropping the knees down to come to seated, or we can step or hop the feet through and coming all the way down. Lovely. Coming into Baddha Konasana, taking the soles of the feet together and allowing the knees to fall out to the side. Nice and long through the spine, holding on to the feet or the ankles. Beautiful. Okay, taking the hands to the knees and pressing the knees up into the hands for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, exhale, let it go. Take the hands back to the feet or ankles. Taking the hands to the outside or the underside of the knees now. And let's press the knees down into the hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, exhale, take the hands away. You might notice you could get a little bit more range there after that. Let's take a forward fold here, this time rounding through the spine and bringing the head down towards the feet. Coming back to that steady inhalation, exhalation. Coming all the way up. Just coming into a comfortable cross-legged position or kneeling position, and we're going to take just a few breaths here together in a seated relaxation before you head off for the rest of your day. Taking the hands in the lap to the knees. Again, noticing that breath again. We're going to take a little breathing exercise here to finish off. I'm going to count us for a 4 count breath. So it'll be inhaling for 4 counts, pause, and then exhaling for 4 counts, pause, and we'll do 3 rounds together. I'll count us. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely, just returning back to your natural breath. You can keep your eyes closed for another moment here. And just noticing this feeling after you've jumped on the mat. You've got a short practice in, you've got the heat flowing, you've paid some attention to the breath. And see if you can carry this energy into the rest of your day. Okay, so we're not just doing our practice and then that's separate to the rest of our life. We're seeing how we can bring this feeling back into the rest of our lives to make our interactions more positive. It lifts our mood, but it's not separate to everything else. And that's the same thing with the breath work. We can access the breath as a tool to focus and ground anytime. It doesn't just have to be whilst I'm doing my meditation or yoga practice and then the rest of my life. Okay, just something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you again really soon. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment with any special requests that you'd like for me to do any videos on, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.